In this step, we are going to add our CSS styles, and we're going to begin by just adding HTML body, and then we're going to add a universal selector so we can go ahead and go with our CSS3 box sizing border box, and we're going to zero out our margin and our padding. So it's sort of a little mini reset here, and mini meaning mini, okay, mini, small. Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste. And now let's go ahead and add what will be our CSS, which will target the little HTML outline we added in a previous step. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get all of my rules for the demo here. And let's go ahead and paste them in. And we'll talk about these real quickly. So here we go. So our first element, this is the one that we use to position and scale the slider. I'm calling mine will scale slider. Okay, and that's this initial div. You can call the class anything you want. This is the element which will position and set your width and whatever else you might want to do with the outer shell part of your slider element. Now I have a border of 1 pixel solid and blue. I do this so you can see what is the will scale slider. Okay, exactly what's going on there. All right, the section, basically the section, all this is really doing for our demo is holding the divs which make up the slider, okay? And this is where we're able to add our slider and our lazy class, okay? And basically I'm placing a border of 1 pixel solid red so you can see the space that this element takes up. Now, the following rules are taken from the CSS theme, the CSS for Slick, because these are ones that you may want to change and you don't want to have to get into the original CSS file. So the slider, this allows you to get at the slider itself as far as setting a width and any margin you might want to have on this, okay, to push it around from whatever other element you've placed it inside. The next is the slick slide. This is the space around each slide, okay? So I have 0 pixels on the top and I have 20 pixels on the right and the left just to space the slides apart. If you want the slides to touch, to be adjacent to each other with no space, then change the 20 to 0. This next one scales the images inside each of the slide holders, if you will. The next, this is your previous and your next arrow buttons. Right now they are set to red. You could set them to any color you want depending on the background colors of your interface. You also have control of the transition for the slides. And so right now the slick slide transition is being set, and each of the slides has an opacity of only 0.2. All right, next is the opacity of a slide not in focus. And right now the opacity is 0.5, but you can change this. And then what slide is in focus, or the current slide, and this is where we set the opacity to 1. And then the remaining CSS is just a footer, again, where I've placed credit for MAX GRUNDY. Okay, so I believe we have everything we need. Let's go ahead and save. Well, we don't have everything. We're going to add our JavaScript in the next step, but we should be able to see the basic outline of what's going on. Okay, now it's not going to work because we don't have the JavaScript in yet. But let's just go ahead and take a look and see where we are. Okay. All right, so here is our slider. It's not going to work quite yet because we're using the lazy slider, and we're using the data attribute to load our images, and that's not going to work until we add our JavaScript, which we will do in the next step.